So this is pretty interesting. I've never seen this before. So I've got an apricot here, and it is grafted onto the rootstock of what I think is a peach. So right down here you can see the graft point. If you don't know about grafting, so we've got, this is the gold-kissed apricot variety, and in order to maintain the exact genetics of this variety, they take a scion, which is basically a cutting from the donor plant or mother plant, and that's going to be grafted onto a rootstock. And then the rootstock will have its own genetic benefits, like maybe it's more cold hardy, or it's just a vigorous grower, or maybe it's a dwarfing variety, which means it'll help this stay smaller or more compact. There's different, a lot of different benefits of different rootstocks. Down below here, we have a sucker, and it's called that because it's basically sucking energy from that could otherwise be going to the main tree, and it's competing with the main tree. But the interesting thing that I wanted to point out is that this is a different plant entirely. This looks like a peach. You can see these long leaves here, and I never realized that that was something that was done, but it makes sense because peaches and apricots, they're both stone fruits, so they're related, so they have to some extent compatible genetics, so they can be grafted together like this. So this apricot is apparently grafted onto what is likely a strong or beneficial or vigorous peach rootstock. And that's super interesting. I have never seen that before. And I can point out, I have a donut peach behind here as well, and it has the same thing going on, where it's grafted onto another rootstock, and you can really tell. And see, it's coming out from the bottom down here, straight from the ground. The graft point is right here. So you can really tell the difference in the leaves. See, these ones are kind of long looking, like these other ones that the apricot is on. But they look a bit different from the actual donut peach's leaves. These ones are more, they're long, but they're not as long, and they're more oval shaped. So you can really tell the difference in the variety. And that's super interesting. I wonder if this donut peach has the same rootstock as this apricot. I think there's a decent chance that they did do. Yeah, that's pretty neat. So I wanted to share that. I can also highlight that since it's possible to graft these together, you can find these in some stores where they have pre-grafts, like a multiple fruit tree. You see it a lot with apples, where it'll have like 4 different apples grafted onto the same tree, and they tend to be a little more pricey. But you can find it with stone fruit as well, where it might have like apricot, peach, maybe a plum or something, all grafted onto the same tree. So that I've kind of seen once or twice, but actually seeing it happening with the rootstock is a different experience. I didn't realize that they would graft onto a different variety of stone fruit, but it makes sense. It's cool. And the last little note is now that I've noticed these, I am going to trim off these suckers because you don't want them to be competing with your main tree.